I don't know how many of you guys grew up watching Saturday morning cartoons, particularly if we're talking about the 90s, shit like Pokemon or Yu-Gi-Oh! Or hell, even if you go back a little further maybe and go a little younger, like Care Bears. We were taught in church, the videos we watch, and even kind of the things our parents might say, particularly if their parents reinforce it. Because I think parents have a lot more to do with the way kids grow up than anything they watch. But if the parents reinforce something they watch and what they watch is weird or wrong, they'll grow up with that, and if it's never challenged, it sticks with them into adulthood. And what I'm going to talk about is what Yu-Gi-Oh! Called the heart of the cards, or friendship is magic, the power of love. Love is a magical force. One of the kind of depressing things that happens when you go and you look up science videos and you start learning about neuroscience, and you start learning about biology and evolution, you find out that you are absolutely compelled by these chemicals in your brains called endorphins, particularly dopamine and serotonin. The same things that make you feel a powerful love for somebody is the same thing that makes you crave chocolate. It's the same thing that makes you want sex. It's the same thing that addicts you to drugs and narcotics. Did you know that when you shoot up heroin, it's not exactly the heroin that's getting you high? The heroin tells your brain, release all the dopamine. Ecstasy in particular does this. If you've ever done ecstasy, what ecstasy does is it says, open the fucking floodgates, dump everything. So for like 6 hours, you are high as a fucking kite, rolling on a cloud, weightless, everything's awesome. You suddenly understand why people like drum and bass and techno music. And then the next day, you want to kill yourself because you have no fucking endorphins left. Your brain needs to recharge them, so about 48 hours afterwards, you're fucked. And people who are addicted to drugs like ecstasy and Molly and MDMA and all that shit have to take unbelievable amounts of this drug if they want to fucking get high very frequently. It's not like pot, where you can just smoke it all the time and build up a little bit of a tolerance, or alcohol, where you build up a little bit of a tolerance. No, you'll see people who take 30 ecstasy pills a day to try to get back to that feeling. And that feeling is love. Love is a drug. Love is not a magical force. Almost every joy of your life is based on a release of endorphins. Every rush, every satisfying feeling that you've ever had is just chemicals in your brain. And these chemicals are powerful. You think you choose what you want to do, but it's your brain and these chemicals that are defining what you want. Free will is kind of an illusion because you are simply a product of the impulses and compulsions in your brain. And that's not easy to deal with. It sounds very matter of fact, and most of you probably already know this, that there's no such thing as magical love. Love isn't a cosmic force or a gift from God. But it can be rather depressing knowing that your biggest highs and your lowest lows, your worst depressions and your most intense elations were just deficiencies and surpluses of chemicals in your brain. Now, the real trick is that you encounter theists who are absolutely aghast that you would equate such powerful emotions to chemical balances in your brain. They think that means those feelings are meaningless. Well, to quote Sarah Connor from Terminator, there is no fate but what you make for yourself. There is no meaning of life except for what you decide life has a meaning. It's really all relative. There's no right answer. And there's insecure people who are so comforted by the idea that they have this answer, this all roads lead to God fucking idea, that God is the arbiter of everything good in their life and saves them from everything bad. These people will attribute every great thing they do to God and take the blame for every one of their great failures on themselves. And that horrifies me in the same way. Because just because they're chemicals doesn't mean they're meaningless. That when you're in your life and you're in the moment, the joy that the chemicals give you, or the sadness that you feel that's another different chemical balance in your brain, is what it is, and it feels like what it feels like, and you operate as if these things are that compelling, because they are. You're not a sociopath, at least I don't think you are. And it would be nice if you trusted in love, if you put love out there, if you invested in the secret and thought happy thoughts, that everything will come to you. And you know what? Positivity has its own actual real rewards. You know what? Being a very upbeat and positive person makes you attractive to other people. And attraction to other people invites opportunity. There's no magic to that. And you can very well develop habits that produce positive changes in your life. And you'll feel like such a dramatic change that you made yourself through the effect you have on other people and the effect you produce on yourself. Because just because I said you are compelled by the chemicals in your brain doesn't make you a zombie. You can go against them. And that's actually the coolest thing about being a human being, is because we got developed frontal lobes and we're so smart that we can resist compulsion. So the very fact that we are intelligent enough to resist compulsion is the coolest thing about us, not the compulsions themselves. And that's what brought us from hunter-gatherers to an agricultural society to fucking civilization as you have it, where you and I, even if you don't have all that money and stuff, you live in an air-conditioned home with a refrigerator and a stove and a supermarket down the street and a doctor on fucking speed dial, you're a king. You're a pharaoh. Welcome to the 21st century. It's a great time to be alive. And you should be fine with that. Even though there's no God, and love is only a figment of your imagination. Have a nice day.